can we rise is what we're intending to do. So if you have it in your hearts, even a small 2, 3, 10 rupees will make a contribution to someone's life somewhere. So we do hope you find it in your hearts to give a little. And now let's move to Sister. Sister, I had a question for you. In this day and age, there's been so much loss, so much turbulence, especially in the second wave. And often people are told that meditation is a cure, but how can just sitting quietly, not doing anything, how is that a cure?
Uh, Meditation is an energizer. Meditation is a method by which we are able to program our mind to think right. It's like the body. When you are teaching everybody yoga and they're working with their body, then so much changes in the body. The immunity changes, the flexibility changes. But if I don't do that, then my body is going to become stiff, my immunity is going to get affected. Similarly, for the mind, we are not doing anything on the daily basis to increase the immunity of the mind, which is the emotional immunity. In fact, we believe that people and situations are the cause of what is happening here. For all our emotions, we have our fingers outside and we say it's because of this one or because of that one. So I'm upset also because of someone and I'm happy also because of somebody else. So which means my own ability to respond, to choose how I'm going to think and feel in a situation, I'm losing that power. And why am I losing that power? Because I'm not working on that power on a daily basis. So meditation is that, it's also yoga, no? So meditation is also yoga. So it is that yoga by which we increase the flexibility here, we build the emotional immunity system here. And so there can be a crisis outside, but we will be very calm inside. There can be someone who is not very pleasant in their behaviors towards us, and we could be very respectful and compassionate. And there can be COVID, but there will not be fear and panic, which means the inner world immunity system is very, very strong. So that is what meditation helps us to do.
And sister, is it okay for anyone to do meditation? Can you be, often we see older people doing meditation, but if you're, say, 20, 21, even 15, 16, can
No,
meditation help?
no, even 4 and 5. Why
Even
15,
4 and
16?
5.
Why? Why? If I had to ask you today, which age can we do yoga? So would it be after 15, 20? No.
No.
We'll say even children can do it. In fact, the younger we start, the more the body is very flexible. And more important, it becomes our nature. So it becomes our nature. We don't have to create discipline. We grow up with that. So it doesn't matter at what age we start. Important is at what age and when do I believe that I need to take charge of my mind? I need to increase my concentration, my focus, and most important, I need to be calm and stable even when nothing is going right. And I want to shift from this belief system that stress, fear, worry, anger, these are all emotional illnesses. And we have started calling them normal. They are not a mental health issue, that is depression, anxiety disorder, but emotional health issue, yes. So, but stress, worry, jealousy, criticism, comparison, these are emotional health issues. And what is emotional health? Compassion, patience, empathy, gratitude, self respect. We like all these words, but and we experience them, but rarely. We need to make this a reality, and this once in a while, and then maybe then just finished. So just shift to emotional health.
So, sister, just by sitting quietly for 5 minutes, all of this can be established?
No, it can't be established by sitting quietly for 5 minutes. Actually, when we look at a photo of meditation, we go online and we search meditation, and the visual that comes before us is eyes closed, hands like this, and crossed leg. Because a visual cannot show us what's going on inside the mind of the person, no? Because meditation is internal, it's not visible. So we think that meditation is about just not thinking. Meditation is not about not thinking. Meditation is about coding and programming your mind to think right. So, meditation is two powers: first, affirmation; second, visualization; and third, experience. So, when we create a thought, so we choose one thought. Let's say I choose a thought, I am a powerful being. Now, this is my thought for today, which means this is what I'm going to meditate on. I am a powerful being. I am the child of the ocean of all powers, the Almighty Authority. I am going to cross this entire day untouched by situations and people. I will remain at a higher vibration. So I do this programming in the morning where I will create that thought and I will see the visual. So, using the power of affirmation plus power of visualization, which all of us use, but we use it to manifest in the outer world. So, to manifest my performance, to manifest in my exam results, people use power of affirmation and visualization. Now we use it to manifest in the inner world. So that is meditation. You're creating a thought, visualizing it, holding it on the visual there, because when we visualize something, it gets recorded here, and then we will start experiencing that peace and power at that time when we are meditating. But it's not going to be only at that time, it's getting coded here. Now, during the day, somebody will press the button, somebody will say something, somebody will do something. Coding is already done of the peaceful, powerful being, and you will respond with that peace and compassion. And when we start doing it on a daily basis, it's natural health, which means peace, power, happiness will start becoming our sanskar, our nature, our personality. And so we will shift from this list of emotional illnesses to our nature. It's our original nature.
And sisters, how would you recommend starting? Is 5 minutes enough for this? Is 10 minutes a good amount? For someone who has never done meditation before, could you give us a road?
Yeah, actually it's not about the time. I could sit for 15 minutes and not meditate. I might not be able to concentrate, so it's not really about the time. But to begin with, to start disciplining our mind, brain and body to sit still, because we are living in a world where we get distracted very easily. So even that first step, to sit still and not get up, even if I am not able to do it, very simple. I might not be able to do it in the first few days, but I'm not going to get up. That is my first step of meditation. So if I say to myself 10 minutes, I will sit still for 10 minutes. Doesn't matter if there's all noise here. Doesn't matter if there's all clutter here. At least my mind, brain, and body is understanding. Sit still means sit still. It's like you discipline a child. Sit means sit. Now, don't get up for the next 10 minutes. We have to discipline this whole system, which has started getting used to getting pulled here and there with every notification sound that we are hearing. So, initially, we start that. Then we take our one affirmation. We start creating that visual. To begin with, we can also use meditation commentaries, because we might not be able to create the thoughts for ourselves, or the mind is creating some other random thoughts. So we can use a audio recorded meditation commentary. So that meditation commentary will give us that guided thoughts. And then we gently have to just take our thoughts in the same direction as what the commentary is saying. After a few days, we will not need a commentary. It's like teaching a child how to speak. After a few days, they've learned to talk. They've learned their A to Z. They've learned their A for apple, B for. Now somebody doesn't have to keep teaching them and showing them in the book. They've learned it. Now it's become their vocabulary, and then we'll do it on our own.
Sister, could I ask you to lead us through one of these short meditations
Sure,
for 5 minutes? And
sure.
then I would like to tell everyone that there are many such recordings by Sister on thinkright.me. It's a wonderful app. It can be downloaded on the Apple Store, on the iOS Store. So please meditate with us for the next 5 minutes, after which we will conclude this session so you can go and rest in that silence for a few moments. But do remember that there is this wonderful app, thinkright.me, which you can download for many such meditation commentaries led by Sister. So I highly recommend to go see that. I use that all the time. Sister, before we conclude with our meditation, I just have one question for you. Do you suggest that meditation can be a way for people to get over this feeling of depression, feeling of anxiety, feeling of just complete hopelessness that many are facing as part of the second wave?
One is a feeling of depression, and the other is a clinical depression. So, two things are very different. If someone is going through a clinical depression and is under treatment by a doctor, they should not meditate right now, unless they are able to take charge first a little bit about themselves. Because sometimes when we are going through a depression and we sit in silence, the mind creates too many thoughts. So that's not good. Feeling depressed, feeling low, of course, we have to do meditation. For those who are going through a depression, don't meditate, but start consuming pure content. That is an energizer because we want to change our quality of thoughts. Even those who are meditating need to also take pure content. We need to understand the cause of our distracted thinking, our scattered thinking, our overthinking. The cause is too much of content consumption throughout the day, and quality we know. So if I'm going to consume content which has ego, lust, greed, jealousy, criticism, then that's what is the quality of my thoughts. So I need to restrict content consumption on a daily basis. Every 15 minutes in the morning, 5-10 minutes in the night, consume healthy pure content, which means positive pure content. That's where spirituality, a self transformation book, whatever we choose, that's the diet. So meditation is the exercise. I can exercise only if I've eaten well. So consume that diet, and throughout the day, please restrict content consumption. This is one of the major causes of all that's happening here, because everything we watch, read, listen is who we become. That is our source of thoughts. Content is equal to personality, is equal to destiny. So content has to be monitored very carefully. So, yes. And with that, then we start doing meditation. Within a week, 10 days, we're going to start coming out of that low feeling, because the low feeling is only my thinking. And if I change that thinking, my feelings will change. So, should we do it right now?
Let's do it. Let's
Okay.
just one thing I'd like to point out. Sister very rightfully said it takes about 10 days. So
Yeah.
stick with your practice for 10 days. This is not a aspirin that you take in the body, it
Yeah.
goes away. So
Yeah.
it does take 10 days. So if, once it is a remedy and it's a long-term remedy, but it takes a few days to manifest. Because I get this question with yoga. I have diabetes, can yoga help? And then after 2 days, my blood sugar levels aren't low.
Yeah.
You have to do it for
Yeah.
2 weeks at least
Yes,
minimally.
yes. Yeah, 10,
Stay with the
15 days.
practice.
Yeah, 10, 15 days only to see the first difference in yourself. Not even for a complete change. Not 10, 15 days, you won't change completely as a person. 10, 15 days to understand that, yes, there is a difference. I am feeling a little better than before. And then for me to come out of it totally, it all depends on how sincerely I'm doing it on a daily basis. Even a medicine doesn't work instantly, no? Even a medicine will be a 5 days dose or a 7 days dose. So, but on the first, second day itself, we start feeling, okay, I'm a little better. That little better means I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right things. So just take care of content consumption and self discipline. Self discipline is very important. Using technology first thing in the morning, using technology just before going to sleep, flooding your mind with content just before going to sleep is not giving us good sleep. And if I don't have good sleep, then during the day to think right is going to be a little challenging, because I'm not energizing my mind and body. Our sleep has also become an issue of concern now, only because of the way we are leading our lives. That's all. So it's nothing else. All that we have to do, go back to those simple practices which are not history. We've lived that life. We are probably the last generation who's lived that life, who used to sleep without a phone or without a laptop,
Yes,
who
yes.
was not connected to content throughout the day. We are the people who've lived that life, and we are the only ones who can take that little u-turn and bring back those lifestyle habits. And then those healthy lifestyle habits will be our gift to the next generation. We are the ones who got the new toys first. You
Yeah.
remember the phone? We are
Yes.
the one. So we were so excited with our toys. We are playing with them throughout the day, and now we are blaming them for our
Yes.
stress. When my phone is the
Yes.
cause of my stress, how can phone be the cause of the stress?
Yes.
Phone has made life very comfortable, but if I don't use it the right way, then I am creating the stress. So we were the first ones who used it. We are the ones who did not use it very right. We are the ones who are seeing the consequence. So we are the ones who can again change our lifestyle habits, and that will be a gift to the next generation. The kids of today don't even know what life can be without a phone. They won't know, but we know. So we just have to bring back those right sleeping, early rising, morning, what to do in the morning when we wake up. this was our life. This was our life. So we're not learning from someone else. It was our life. And if we go back 20, 30 years back, no word as depression. It was like one of
Yeah.
those rare
Yeah.
things which would
Yeah.
happen to, like, I mean, we didn't even know what it was. We used to just hear, wo uncle, auntie ko depression
Yeah.
hua hai, and those very senior, the
Yeah.
elderly. Today we're talking about it in school.
Yeah.
We were not even talking stress in school, actually.
Yeah.
It was just in physics. So it's
Yes.
our life. If I've lived that life, it's not difficult to bring it back. It's very simple to bring it back. So let's bring it back, because we owe it. We really owe it to the children of today to teach them the right way of living by living it ourselves. And then they will be able to take it forward from there. So let's sit back for a few minutes. Visualize yourself, a tiny point of light here. This is the energy. So we're going to visualize that energy, and visualize just above you another tiny point of light, the supreme power, God, the energy source. And as we create these thoughts, very gently, keep seeing the visual. It's very slowly, very gently. Don't force yourself, no pressure. Very gently. I, the energy, I am the master of this body. I am the creator of every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. I am the creator. I choose what to think, what to say, how to behave. I am a powerful being. My every thought is pure, selfless, radiating power to the world. My every word, respectful, and my every behavior is for the benefit of all. I'm the child of the Supreme Being, the ocean of powers. Visualize God's love and power like a laser beam filling into the soul. Like the sun's rays nourish the body, God's powers nourish the soul. And now see yourself throughout the day, scene after scene, people, their behaviors. Everything is the way it's meant to be. And see yourself light, calm, powerful, choosing the right response in every scene. People may not be my way always. I respond with dignity. See yourself responding to them. It's my power. I am the master. I create my destiny. with my every thought, word, and behavior. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for blessing us with this meditation. And once more, please download the ThinkRight.me app. It makes it very easy to just go onto the app and listen to this meditation, and then over time, you'll be able to do it yourself. On that note, sister, I'd like to conclude. Thank you so much for your blessing. I don't want to take up any minute of your time, more of your time, because we know that each minute of yours is precious by all the activities that you do. Thank you for being part of this program, being yoga. अब हम शुरुआत करते हैं थोड़ी योग के साथ। आज के सेगमेंट में मैं आपको ये बताऊंगी कि कोविड-19 के रिकवरी के लिए कौन से योगासन फायदेमंद होते हैं। अगर आप कोविड से रिकवर नहीं कर रहे हैं तो फिर भी ये आसन आपके लिए फायदेमंद होंगे। ये आपकी लंग्स को स्ट्रेंथन करेंगे और ये आपकी इम्यूनिटी को बूस्ट करेंगे। तो हम सबसे पहले शुरुआत करेंगे थोड़े से सूक्ष्म व्यायाम के साथ या जेंटल वार्म अप प्रैक्टिसेस। हमारा पर्पस इसमें ये कि हम अपनी बॉडी को पूरा लचीला कर लें और एक योग आसन के लिए तैयार कर लें। अगर हम योग आसन ऐसे ही कर लें तो ये हो सकता है कि हमारी बॉडी में कहीं अड़चन हो सकता है, कहीं क्रैम्प हो सकता है, हमको थोड़ी सी टाइटनेस महसूस होएगी और कभी कभी इंजरी भी हो सकती है। तो वार्म अप, अच्छे वार्म अप के साथ ये नहीं होगा और आपको बड़ा अच्छा भी लगेगा। ये स्पाइन का एक मसाज सोचिए हो रहा है। एक अच्छे से सीटेड पोस्चर में बैठिए। आप इसको कुर्सी में भी कर सकते हैं। अपने हाथ आप घुटने पे लगाएं और धीरे धीरे बस आप यहाँ से रोटेशन स्टार्ट कर लें। अपने ब्रेथ और बॉडी को कोऑर्डिनेटेड रखिए। तो आप जब आगे जाइए तो आप लंबी गहरी सांस लें और आप पीछे जाते हैं तो सांस को छोड़ें। सांस को लीजिए, सांस को छोड़िए और फिर इसी चीज को हम दूसरी ओर कर सकते हैं। थोड़े से आप अपने शोल्डर्स को भी ला सकते हैं। थोड़ा सा शोल्डर्स का भी यहाँ पे वार्म अप हो जाएगा। आपकी जो रीढ़ की ऊपर वाली हड्डी है उसमें एक अच्छा सा मसाज होगा। ये बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है इसको करके। फिर आप वापस आइए और यहाँ पे आप एक लंबी गहरी सांस लेके सांस को आप अपनी छाती को खोलिए, फिर छाती को बंद करें। लंबी गहरी सांस में छाती को खोलिए, लंबी गहरी सांस खोलिए और एक्सहेल। इनहेल और एक्सहेल, इनहेल, एक्सहेल। इसको आप 15 से 20 बार भी कर लें तो अच्छा होगा। और अब अपने सोल्स ऑफ द फीट को पास पे लाया, थोड़े से अपने पेल्विस को खोलिए। ये आपको बैठने में आराम देगा। अगर आप नीचे बैठे हुए हैं तो ये अच्छे से आपको आपके हिप्स और ग्रोइन को खोलेगा। अपने कंधे को पीछे आप ड्रॉप करिए और अब आप वापस आ जाएं। और अब सबसे पहले हम थोड़ी सी प्राणायाम की अभ्यास करेंगे और प्राणायाम के बाद मैं आपको थोड़े से आसन दिखाऊंगी। सबसे बेहतर प्राणायाम होता है अनुलोम विलोम। अगर आप ये एक प्राणायाम सीख जाएं तो ये आपको जिंदगी भर बेनिफिट देगा। स्पेशली फॉर कोविड रिकवरी ये इतना फायदेमंद है। ये आपके पूरे रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट को खोल देता है। नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड के इफेक्ट को अपने पूरे बॉडी में इफेक्ट करता है, आपके माइंड में इफेक्ट करता है। ये इतना अच्छा प्राणायाम है। इससे आपके राइट और लेफ्ट साइड के ब्रेन में भी बैलेंस आता है और ये इतना सिंपल है, आपको तुरंत इसका इफेक्ट आता है। ये ऐसे पावरफुल प्राणायाम है, आपको रुकना भी नहीं पड़ता है। काफी सारे योग आसन के इफेक्ट के लिए आपको थोड़ी देर रुकना पड़ता है, फिर आपको रिजल्ट दिखेंगे। पर अनुलोम विलोम का रिजल्ट इमीडिएट होता है। तो कैसे करते हैं इस प्राणायाम को सही तरीके से? सबसे पहले हम अपने
सीधे हाथ को लें और एक विष्णु मुद्रा बनाएं। तो एक विष्णु मुद्रा आपकी इंडेक्स फिंगर, रिंग फिंगर नीचे रहेगी आपके पाम पे। अपने एल्बो को आप अपनी छाती के पास ले आए, अपने थंब से राइट नॉस्ट्रल और 2 अदर फिंगर से आप अपने लेफ्ट नॉस्ट्रल, आपका जो लेफ्ट हैंड है वो चिन्ह मुद्रा में होगा। और ये आप कोशिश करिए कि आपका बैक अच्छे से बिल्कुल सीधा है। और यहाँ पे आप 1-2 गहरी लंबी सांस लें। सांस को आप बिल्कुल स्लो कर दें। और अब आप अपने सीधे हथेली को बंद करें, जेंटली, ये नहीं कि बहुत ज्यादा दबाएं, जेंटली। और आप लेफ्ट ओर से इनहेल करें, धीरे से, स्लोली। दोनों नॉस्ट्रल्स, हथेलियां को बंद करें आराम से। और अब आप राइट नॉस्ट्रल से सांस निकालें, आपका लेफ्ट नॉस्ट्रल बंद। इनहेल राइट, दोनों नॉस्ट्रल्स को बंद करें। एक्सहेल लेफ्ट, इनहेल लेफ्ट, दोनों नॉस्ट्रल्स को बंद करें। एक्सहेल राइट, इनहेल राइट, लेफ्ट क्लोज्ड। सांस को रोकें, दोनों हथेलियां बंद और लेफ्ट से एक्सहेल करें। अब आप हाथ को नीचे ला सकते हैं। तो ये हमने बस थोड़े से राउंड किए, पर आप ऐसे आप 5 से लेके 8 राउंड अगर करेंगे तो आपकी रेस्पिरेटरी हेल्थ जो है बहुत ही अच्छी हो जाएगी और आपके ब्रेन का भी बैलेंस हो जाता है। क्योंकि हम लोग जो राइट और लेफ्ट की ब्रीदिंग करते हैं तो आपके नोज के ऊपर क्या है, ये हमारा प्री फ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स ब्रेन का है और ये हमारे ब्रेन का कंट्रोल रूम है। और यहीं से फायदा पड़ता है, डायरेक्ट फायदा पड़ता है जब हम ये अनुलोम विलोम प्राणायाम की प्रैक्टिस करते हैं। और ये आपकी लंग स्ट्रेंथनिंग के लिए बहुत ही अच्छा है, क्योंकि हम अपने ब्रेथ को थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। हम थोड़े से जब अंदर सांस ले रहे हैं कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं, जब एक्सहेल कर रहे हैं हम कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। अब मैं बताऊंगी सबसे इजी तरीका आपके लंग स्ट्रेंथनिंग और स्टैमिना बढ़ाने का। बहुत एक कंप्लेंट आती है कोविड-19 पेशेंट्स की कि हम बहुत वीक हो गए हैं, हमारा स्टैमिना बहुत डाउन हो गया है। अगर आप ये सिंपल प्रैक्टिस करें तो आपकी स्टैमिना बढ़ेगी। ये प्रोफेशनल एथलीट्स यूज करते हैं इस टेक्निक को और ये इतनी सिंपल है। सिंपली आप अपनी सांस को होल्ड करेंगे, ब्रेथ रिटेंशन, या हम योग को उसमें बोलते हैं कुंभक। और कुंभक प्राणायाम का सबसे जरूरी हिस्सा है। तो कुंभक हम कैसे लगाते हैं? रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधी, छाती को अच्छे से खोल दें, फिर हम लंबी गहरी सांस लेंगे, सांस को रोके रहें और 3/4 ऑफ द लंग्स फुल, ये नहीं कि पूरा भर दें, 3/4 आप भरें और आप सांस को रोकें और अपना फोकस आप अपने आईब्रोज के बीच में रखें और यहाँ पे आप अपने ब्रेथ अटेंशन करें। जितने भी लंबे समय तक आप कर सकें आप यहाँ रुके रहें और फिर एक्सहेल कर लें। और इस प्रैक्टिस को आपको बढ़ाना है। तो पहले आप 10 या 20 सेकंड कर पाओगे, फिर आप 30 सेकंड कर पाओगे, फिर आप 40 सेकंड्स कर पाओगे। तो ऐसे ऐसे करके आपको बढ़ाना है कुंभक में हम लोग कितना समय बिताएं, ये बहुत जरूरी है। तो ये हमारे 2 बहुत अच्छे प्राणायाम हो गए हैं, अनुलोम विलोम और एक कुंभक जो ब्रेथ अटेंशन है, जो प्राणायाम का एक हिस्सा होता है। अब हम करेंगे भ्रमरी प्राणायाम का अभ्यास। इसको हम अंग्रेजी में बोलते हैं हमिंग बी ब्रेथ। कैसे करते हैं इसको मैं आपको एक बड़ा सिंपल टेक्निक बताऊंगी। सबसे पहले कंफर्टेबल सीटेड पोस्चर, रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधी, हम 2 अपने फिंगर्स लेंगे और अपने जो ये छोटा कान है, जो यहाँ पे जो कान के ऊपर एक स्किन है, उसको हम नीचे दबाएंगे। तो आप अपने 2 फिंगर्स से स्किन को दबाएंगे, अपने हाथ को आप ऊपर ले जाएं। अगर आपके हाथ थक जाते हैं तो आप इनहेलेशन के बाद आप अपने हाथ नीचे रख सकते हैं, आपके पास ऑप्शन है। अभी तो आप एक लंबी गहरी सांस लेंगे, कानों को बंद करेंगे, फिर एक जोर से आप एक आवाज निकालेंगे, एक हमिंग भी जैसे। एक और बार नाक से सांस लें, कान को बंद रखें, और आप हाथ को नीचे ले जाएं। ब्राह्मणी प्राणायाम से एक नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड इफेक्ट होता है। जो आपकी ये साइनस कैविटी होती है यहाँ पे, इसमें नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड बनता है, और जो हमारे ब्लड वेसल्स का ऑक्सीजनेशन होता है वो नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड इसकी मदद करता है। तो जितना ज़्यादा हमारे बॉडी में नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड है उतना अच्छा सेल्स के ऑक्सीजनेशन के लिए है। तो इसलिए ब्राह्मणी प्राणायाम आप ज़रूर करें। अगर आप 5 राउंड भी रोज करें 5 बार, तो आपके लिए बहुत फायदेमंद है। तो चलिए, ये हुआ हमारे प्राणायाम का अभ्यास। अगर आप ये ही करेंगे, और ये कितना सिंपल है, तो आपकी हेल्थ ट्रांसफॉर्म हो सकती है। अगर आप कोविड से रिकवर हो रहे हैं तो फिर तो आपके लिए ये एसेंशियल है। जैसे हम पानी पीते हैं उतना ही जरूरी है। और अगर आप कोविड से नहीं भी रिकवर कर रहे हैं, फिर भी ये आपको सेफ रखेगा। ये आपकी खुद की ये कोविशील्ड है, जो हमारे खुद की बॉडी की है। कहीं बाहर से हमको कुछ भी नहीं लेना पड़ता है। तो चलिए, अब कौन से आसन फायदेमंद होते हैं कोविड रिकवरी के लिए। मैं आपको बहुत सिंपल आसन बताऊंगी जो सीनियर सिटीजन्स कर सकते हैं, जो कमजोर लोग कर सकते हैं, सभी लोग इनको कर सकते हैं। सबसे पहले करेंगे हम भुजंगासन, जो बहुत ही फायदेमंद आसन है हमारी रीढ़ की हड्डी को स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए, हमारी लंग्स की कैपेसिटी स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए। तो हम इसको एक कुशन के साथ करेंगे। अगर हम ये कुशन के साथ करते हैं पहले, तो इसमें हमको थोड़ा सा एक हेल्प मिलेगी। तो अगर आप कमजोर हैं, अगर आप बुजुर्ग हैं, तो एक कुशन के साथ आपको पहले हेल्प होगा, फिर मैं आपको विदाउट कुशन भी दिखाऊंगी। तो हम लोग पहले इसको हम अपने पहले इसको पोजीशन में आ जाते हैं। अपने पेट पे लेते हैं आप, अपने हाथ जो है आप अपने शोल्डर्स की लाइन में रखें, और एक कुशन को आप सामने ला सकते हैं। और आप पहले ऊपर आए, फिर नीचे, सांस के साथ ऊपर फिर नीचे। अपने एंकल्स को साथ में रखें। तो इसको आप 5 या 10 बार कर सकते हैं। एक अच्छा स्ट्रेच मिलता है, और सांस लेते हुए ऊपर और नीचे जाएंगे तो एक ब्रेथ और बॉडी का कोऑर्डिनेशन हो जाता है। और फिर हम लोग थोड़ा सा होल्ड करेंगे। तो होल्ड करने के टाइम पे आप कुशन अपने छाती के नीचे ले आए, और यहाँ पे आप ऐसे होल्ड करें। तो आपको कुशन से छाती का सपोर्ट मिल जाता है, और आप थोड़े लंबे समय पे आसन पे रह सकते हैं, और बहुत ही सुंदर इफेक्ट आता है। और यहाँ पे आप इसको होल्ड कर रहे हैं और सांस लेते रहें, लंबी गहरी सांस। अब आप कुशन के बिना करना चाहते हैं तो कुशन को हटा दें, और अपने हाथ शोल्डर की लाइन पे ले आए, और यहाँ पे आप एक अच्छी तरीके से इसको होल्ड करें, और ये कोशिश करें कि आपकी छाती खुल रही है, और हल्की सी ठुड्डी को ऊपर करें। यहाँ पे आप अपने हाथ को पीछे भी ला सकते हैं, और लीवर बना के, जैसे एक लीवर होता है वैसे बनाइए और ऊपर खींचिए, और यहाँ पे और आपकी छाती खुलेगी। ये भी एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका है करने को, और आपकी छाती और भी खुलेगी। और यहाँ पे लंबी गहरी सांस, अपनी सांस को ये सोचिए कि थोड़ी थोड़ी धीमे करें, और फिर आराम से आप नीचे आ जाएं। फिर आप अपने घुटने पे आ जाएं। यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा टेंशन हम लोग रिलीज करेंगे, और अब आप वापस आ जाएं। तो ये हुआ हमारा भुजंगासन। ये कितना एक सिंपल आसन है, कितना फायदेमंद आसन है, और ये आसन ऐसा ही कि सब लोग कर सकते हैं इसको। स्पेशली आप अगर एक कुशन लेंगे तो आपके लिए बहुत ही फायदेमंद है ये। अब मैं आपको एक सीटेड पोस्चर बताऊंगी, बहुत ही सिंपल सा है, तो आप मेरे साथ करिए। मैं इसको एक तो बहुत इजी तरीके से दिखाऊंगी और दूसरा मैं एक अर्ध मत्स्य आसन दिखाऊंगी। तो अगर आप कंप्लीट बिगिनर हैं, आप यहाँ से शुरुआत कर सकते हैं और फिर आप एक अर्ध मत्स्य आसन कर सकते हैं। तो इसी आप सुख आसन पे बैठ जाएं, अपने हाथ को साइड में ले आएं, लंबी गहरी सांस लेके सीधी ओर मुड़िए और अपना लेफ्ट हैंड आप अपने राइट नी पे डालें और पीछे से आप हाथ जमीन पे डालें और पूरा अच्छी तरीके से ट्विस्ट करें आप। अब ये सोचिए कि आपका कान जो है सीधी ओर की दीवार की ओर जा रहा है और यहाँ पे 5 ब्रेथ्स के लिए आपको रहना है और वापस, और इसी तरीके से दूसरी ओर अपने हाथ को साइड पे, लंबी गहरी सांस, और हम अब दूसरी ओर अपने बॉडी को ट्विस्ट करेंगे और अब सोचिए कि आपका कान जो है लेफ्ट ओर घूम रहा है और यहाँ पे लंबी गहरी सांस और वापस। जब हम लोग ये ट्विस्ट करते हैं, जब हम लोग अपने बॉडी को एक राइट और लेफ्ट ओर को रोटेट करते हैं, तो हमारी जो नेजल कैविटी है वो खुल जाती है। और क्योंकि कोविड हमारे अपर रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट से स्टार्ट होता है, तो इसलिए ये बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से हम लोग अगर करें तो ट्विस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा फायदेमंद होती हैं कोविड-19 की रिकवरी के लिए। और इसी को हम एक अर्ध मत्स्य आसन कर सकते हैं। ध्यान से देखें, हम पहले वज्रासन में बैठेंगे, अपने हम दोनों पैर को लेफ्ट ओर, लेफ्ट लेग को ऊपर ले आएं और इस तरीके का आप शेप बनाएं। फिर आप अपने दोनों हाथ को अच्छे से खोलें, छाती को खोलें, इनहेल करते हुए सीधे हाथ को आप लेफ्ट साइड ले आएं और आप राइट हैंड को ऊपर ला सकते हैं और अपने लेफ्ट हैंड से पीछे आप ट्विस्ट करिए, अच्छी तरीके से ट्विस्ट करिए। अब ये सोचिए कि वो आपको कोई साइड से खींच रहा है और यहाँ लंबी गहरी सांस लें आप, अर्ध मत्स्य आसना, और फिर आप वापस आ जाएं। और इसी चीज को हम दूसरी ओर कर सकते हैं। तो वज्रासन में आप पहले बैठेंगे, दोनों टांगों को राइट साइड पे ले आए, तो अपने लेफ्ट हिप पे बैठे हुए हैं, तो आप अपना सीधा पैर ऐसे लेफ्ट लेग के ऊपर ले आए, आपका ये शेप बन जाएगा। अब हम दूसरी ओर पे कर रहे हैं, अपने दोनों हाथ साइड पे, छाती को खोलें, लंबी गहरी सांस के साथ आप अपना सीधा हाथ राइट हैंड पीछे लाएं, लेफ्ट हैंड को राइट लेग पे, और आप ट्विस्ट करिए साइड पे। और आप ये सोचिए कि आपको साइड से आपको खींच रहा है कोई, और यहाँ पे लंबी गहरी सांस लें आप। अर्ध मत्स्य आसना ये मेरा सबसे फेवरेट आसना है, मुझको इतना रिलीफ मिलता है इसमें, फिजिकल, मेंटल। और फिर आप आराम से वापस आ जाएं और आप आराम से बैठें, थोड़े से लंबी गहरी सांस लें। और अब मैं आपको एक बहुत ही अच्छा आसन दिखाऊंगी, बाल आसन। ये इतना अच्छा रिलैक्सिंग आसन है। आप अपने वज्रासन में बैठ जाएं और बस ऊपर से हाथ लीजिए, लंबी गहरी सांस लेके आप आगे आ जाएं, अपने फोरहेड को नीचे रखें, फिर आपके दोनों हाथ को बॉडी के साइड पे, आपके पाम्स सीलिंग की ओर, और लंबी गहरी सांस लें। और यहाँ पे आप बिल्कुल अपने सब टेंशन छोड़ दें, और जितना आप लंबी गहरी सांस लें उतना ज़्यादा आपको फायदा होगा। ये आसन बहुत ज़रूरी है कि सब लोग एटलीस्ट 5 मिनट्स इसको करें। फिर आराम से ऊपर आ जाएं। और अब मैं आपको आखिरी आसन दिखाऊंगी, मकरासन, और वो भी थोड़े से कुशन के साथ, क्योंकि इसमें हमको प्रोनिंग इफेक्ट लाना है तो हमारे बॉडी का ऑक्सीजन लेवल बढ़ेगा। क्योंकि प्रोनिंग मेडिकल डॉक्टर्स ने भी देखा है कि बहुत ज़्यादा लाभदायक होता है, फायदेमंद होता है कोविड रिकवरी के लिए। तो हम लोग एक कुशन रखेंगे और बस लेट जाएंगे नीचे, और हमारे टोज टच होंगे और हमारे एंकल साइड पे होंगे, और एक हम हाथ के साथ पिलो बनाएंगे, और ये हम कुशन को छाती के नीचे रखेंगे और बस हम ऐसे लेट जाएंगे, एक पिलो बना के हमारा सिर राइट साइड पे, और थोड़ी सी छाती के नीचे हम ये कुशन या पिलो डालेंगे, और यहाँ पे आप लंबी गहरी सांस लें। और थोड़े समय के बाद आप वही चीज लेफ्ट साइड पे करेंगे। आप अपने घुटने के नीचे भी एक कुशन डाल सकते हैं, 2 कुशन डाल सकते हैं। आपको जहां जहां भी लगता है आपकी बॉडी को सपोर्ट चाहिए, आप वहां पे कुशन डाल सकते हैं। अब आराम से आप साइड पे टर्न करके ऊपर आ जाएं। ये मैंने आपको इतना सिंपल रूटीन दिया है, इसको करने के लिए आपको 15 मिनट भी नहीं लगेंगे। आप ज़रूर ये रूटीन जो है अपने ज़िंदगी में अपनाएं, स्पेशली अगर आप कोविड से रिकवर हो रहे हैं। अगर कोविड से आप रिकवर भी नहीं हो रहे हैं तो फिर भी आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ेगी, आपकी लंग स्ट्रेंथ बढ़ेगी। और ये ऐसा रूटीन है कि कोई भी कर सकता है इसको। जो बुजुर्ग हैं वो भी कर सकते हैं, जो यंग हैं वो भी कर सकते हैं, जो बच्चे हैं वो भी कर सकते हैं। नमस्कार, मैं हूँ ईरा त्रिवेदी, एंड वन मोर टाइम हैप्पी इंटरनेशनल योगा डे। एंड आई डू होप कि आप डोनेशन करें। ये कोविड ऐसी बीमारी है कि हम इसको सब साथ में हमको लड़ना है। और जो हम डोनेशंस रेज कर रहे हैं, हम ये बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को दे रहे हैं जो कोविड-19 का बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहा है। और इन्हीं ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को अगर हम सपोर्ट करेंगे तो हमारी भी जिंदगी में बहुत सारी ब्यूटीफुल चीजें आएंगी। थैंक यू।
ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Namaste everyone, I'm Ira Trivedi and welcome to Get Better India. Today I am honored and blessed to have with me Shri M, one of the greatest yogis of our time, to share his learnings and to teach all of us how we can individually face the pandemic and use the ancient art, science, and blessing of yoga to help us in our lives. And do remember this, there's a ticker running at the bottom of the screen in which we're encouraging you to give. So even if it's giving 10 rupees, 20 rupees, please do give, because just by giving and by donating, even something very small, we're giving towards a collective energy that we can all use to heal. Welcome, Shri M, to our program, and thank you so much for taking out the time to do this. We're hoping that through spiritual stalwarts such as yourselves, we can emphasize to people how important it is, especially on this particular day, International Day of Yoga, to begin a practice of yoga in their lives. There is no better time than now to start.
So okay, yeah, earlier the better. If we have not practiced yoga till now, then maybe it's time to start right now. I completely agree with you that we have a science with us which has come from ancient times. And anyone who has practiced yoga, yourself, for instance, I saw saw a small notification here about all your activities, pretty impressive. But apart from that, the yoga is the science of yoga. I call it the science of, some people say art of yoga, but I think it's the science of yoga. Um, Look at me. I am 72 years old physically, yes. Uh, I started the practice of yoga at the age of 10. I'm also talking about physical yoga, not only the spiritual aspect. As
with
you know,
with Sharmaji.
yeah, right. So you, you know that. So I started at the age of 10 and I have not missed my practice till now, unless I'm traveling and that time I'm not able to do it or something like that, but definitely not. And that is, I am proof myself, I'm living proof that yoga has a certain effect on the body and the mind, and of course, further up to the spiritual practices. So now we are passing through a tough phase. Actually, we are kind of overcoming it. And very soon things will open up. This is my hope. Uh, but there was a terrible time, the first wave and the second wave, and people were passing through difficult times. So many people reached out to me. What do we do here, stuck inside in a lockout? So I had to explain to them that now this lockout is important for us because of the pandemic, because of the virus. However, even if there is no pandemic, it's a good idea sometimes to have a lockdown, not for the general public, but for yourself. I also pointed out to many people that in ancient times, many of the great teachers and yogis deliberately and voluntarily locked down themselves in small rooms, little kutirs, and didn't want to meet anybody. It was deliberate, voluntary, not involuntary, it was voluntary. So, what did they do during that time? This is the, this is the time when we can't go out, when we can't meet people, we can't party. Nowadays, for everything, it's a party. Uh, Somebody's birthday, it's a party. So what I do? Open the champagne bottle. So all this is not possible. Okay, fine. Now, I think if there's a birthday or a marriage, it's a good thing to give a small plant so that they can plant it somewhere. That's a better thing to do than party. Can you
Good
keep this?
things all so good things all
Sorry.
the parties stopped
Yeah. So,
during pandemic.
yeah. So what did they do when, what do you do when you're alone, when you can't go out, when you're isolated? I'd like to use the word solitude instead of isolation. Solitude is a better word because in solitude, you can do a lot of things which you didn't have time for before. You can read important texts, you can meditate, you can practice, you can do 100 things which you couldn't do before. See, so it's an important phase. Turn it into a positive thing, is what I mean to say. Turn it into a positive thing. Like you said, yoga love to be in solitude. If you love to be in solitude, it's like the little moth that builds a cocoon, sits inside for some days. How does the moth come from? It comes from a little caterpillar, which is on the ground walking in this mud. And then it builds this cocoon and then matures. And when the cocoon breaks, what happens? It becomes a butterfly with multicolored wings flying up in the sky above the flowers. So use the time. Instead of saying, I'm bored, I'm fed up, use it creatively so that you grow wings like a butterfly. One day or the other, the lockdown is going to be over. Now you're prepared to fly higher up. And yogic practices, listening to music, all these are important things which you can do at this time. Not only can you do, I think you should teach others to do. I think,
Wonderful.
yeah.
No, I just want to bring in one question here about meditation.
Yes.
And this is after reading your book on meditation, which I feel everyone should read. So if you haven't gone and read Sri M's book on meditation, please do go get this book. And there's been a lot of beautiful questions answered in the book. And also in this time, there's been a lot of conversations on mental health. A lot of
Yeah.
people are going through anger, depression, anxiety, and they're looking at meditation as a tool So
Absolutely.
many times, even to me, they say, oh, can we start meditating? Can we just start meditating? And oftentimes, I'll say, I'm not so sure if you're ready for meditation or not. So I'd
Yep,
love
right.
to know from you. I'd love to learn from you. I would love to know some tips for people who want to meditate. Would love for you to explain Vedantic meditation, how you've explained it, and also how the breath links to meditation. These are
Right.
the three things that I would love for you to talk about because you're a master of these of so many things, but these have been so beautifully explained in your book, and I think it's very, very valuable for people to know because even if people want to start meditation, they're often so confused. There's so many apps, there's so many YouTube channels, they don't know what to do. There's, so many resources, and it's almost too confusing.
Right. So let me start with, I'll try and be brief. Um, the word meditation. Now, in the ancient texts, there is no such word called meditation. I mean, it's an English word, of course, but by the word meditation, which we use in the English language, what we mean are the three things described in the Yoga Sutras, which is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. All these three are included in meditation. When we say meditation, that's what we mean. Now, why do people want to meditate? First, this is an important question. There are different kinds of people who want to take up meditation of different kinds. One is, I'm so fed up, I'm kind of restless, I have always, my mind is wandering, so I need to meditate and stabilize myself. Yeah, this is one. Quite legitimate, of course. The second are those people who want to link the dharana, dhyana, and samadhi of yoga and make the practice of yoga complete from physical to the mind and then on to the spiritual. Second variety of people. Then there is the third, which is purely spiritual. The Vedantins are not interested in anything else except finding the truth, so they want to meditate. So, because of this, there are different kinds of meditation. Now, there are people who are interested in visualization and symbols, and they go into the what we call the yoga tantras, the tantra connected to yoga, right? So there are different kinds, but I would say the most important thing in whichever be the kind of meditation you want to do, the most important factor is that the mind has to become quiet. Base. Without the mind being quiet, there is no meditation. So from there, you can change to whatever you're thinking about. But this is important. That is the runway. It is the tarmac from where you can take off. Right. So to make the mind calm, to start with, 'cause I know, like you said, many people we want to meditate, but I also sometimes wonder how to get this person to meditate. So the first step, I think a very easy step would be what we call, it's also very popular now in the art of in the science of vipassana, for instance, which means watching. Now it's not easy to watch. The mind is something which always likes to be occupied. It's like nature abhors a vacuum. You keep a vacuum and air tries to rush in. In the same way, you try to make the mind calm, immediately thoughts begin to rush it. It's part of Prakriti. So it happens. So one can't say to meditate, free your mind from all. It's not possible. Thoughts will certainly come. We say from the yogic point of view, instead of that, can you turn your thoughts to something that is internal so that for some time the thoughts are away from the external? And what is the internal thing that we have the best? Our breath. Everybody breathes. It's so important. Water, you can live without water for some time. Food, you can live without food. Breath, you can't live for half a minute without breathing. So it's so important, but we neglect it. We don't give any attention. So therefore, I think to bring about a calm mind, which is the platform from which one can go to the higher levels of meditation, one way is to occupy the mind internally in your breath. I mean, occupied into your breath or integrated with your breath. So it's very simple. You must be know. I'm just saying, very simple, which is turn your attention to the breath. Take inhale. As you inhale, watch your breath as you're inhaling. And as you watch your breath, listen to the sound of the breath as you inhale. You don't even have to use a mantra. Normally in Kriya Yoga, we use hum, saw. Inhale, hum, and exhale, saw. But you don't even have to do that. If you listen carefully to the sound of the breath, that becomes a mantra by itself. And if you want, you can hold for a count of 4 or 5, or you don't even have to hold it. You can immediately exhale and give complete attention to the exhalation and hear the sound of the breath coming out. When this is done for about 5 to 10 minutes, the proof of the pudding is in the eating it. You will realize that many thoughts which used to disturb you are out because you are occupied, integrated with your breath. If this continues for some time, then one can shift to the deeper levels of meditation from there. This is essential. When Patanjali says yoga chitta vritti nirodha, when yoga he defines as getting rid of all the distractions of the mind stuff. Vrittis, I like to define them as distractions, opposing views, tension. All this is one of the first steps is to watch your breath and free yourself from outer involvement so that you're involved inside. And as you move along with your breath, mind calms down, the prana becomes balanced, the ida and the pingala become balanced, and then you're set for the next step. So when people really want to start at the beginning, I would suggest that for a month or two, they just do this.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Breathe.
Just focus on your breath.
Yeah, breathe with intention, intention, and attention on the breath. Complete attention. So slowly you'll see that your mind becomes calm, your attention span increases, your concentration improves, various things happen. And if I may say, it also helps to rejuvenate your body and the cells. Because now you're not allowing the prana to get wasted.
Yeah, yeah. Focusing. No, as Shri M said, message for everyone who's watching this program, begin with breathing. If you are curious about meditation, the first step is just to sit down and take long breaths with intention, long conscious breaths with intention. And even that by itself is a powerful process. Now, Shri M, I want to ask you a question here. A lot of people have faced losses. I would say that almost every one of us knows someone who has passed away in the second wave. Everyone has suffered losses, and often these losses make you bitter. They make you negative. They make you think, why has this world done this to me? What did I ever do to deserve this? And that makes people corrupt, just that thought that, why did this happen to me? And in your book, there was a very beautiful story that I remember reading on Krishna and Narada, how they go into two different houses and, how loss can be used as a way of reaching higher altars. And so I was just wondering, maybe that story or some other story for you, just giving a message out there for everyone who is suffering from loss. How do we counter that?
First, let me tell you, to lose someone who is dear and near, the wound doesn't heal so easily. Let's understand this first. That's a lovely Padma said. So let's understand that, okay? That it's not so easy to wound this heal. Only time can heal it. Point one. Keep this in mind. When somebody else whom you don't know dies, it's not so affected by it. But when it happens to us, it's not so easy. Well, for us who have somehow, I don't know, through work or good luck or blessings of the teacher or whoever, whatever, we have come to the understanding that when the body dies, nothing dies. The self doesn't die. The inner being doesn't die. Now, when a person is in an emergency situation and somebody, you can't go and talk all this to them. This philosophy doesn't work. doesn't enter there in grief. So the only way one can help them out is to get them to occupied in something which is not to do with these things. I mean, do good things. Uh, the whole concept of seva, people think seva is to help others, it also helps yourself. How? Because when you help somebody, you've forgotten your troubles. You may be in trouble, but you want to help the other guy that side, your neighbor or whoever is around, then your grief becomes a very small part of this whole thing. Everybody is in grief. So seva is one thing, how to help others who are still alive and not allow them to suffer as we did when this happened to us. This is one way of doing it. This is also yoga, it's karma yoga.
Yeah.
Seva is karma yoga, one. And the second, and the first, of course, is that even though you may not have experience and you may or may not believe this, at least uh, suspend your judgment when somebody says there is some element in us that never dies. At least that much. Perhaps there is something like that. So maybe the body is gone, but the person is still somewhere doing something. Two. And the third, of course, is to understand that death is something that happens to everybody. Nobody can escape it. The day we are born, we know that it's going to end at some point. Yes. So, which is not a terrible thing. Imagine living forever for 200 years. It's terrible. It's boring. You come, you go, it's happened. Again, I must say that it's not so easy when something happens to our own relatives. It's not easy to heal the wound, but these are the things that can be taught. Now, I want to tell you a little story. I've been saying this for some time since the pandemic, but it's an interesting one about how a lady went to the Buddha when her son died, little boy, only son, and said, "Can you please bring him back to life?" And the great enlightened Buddha said, "Go and look around in your locality, find a house where nobody has ever died, and bring me a mustard seed." The poor lady looked, somebody has died at some point or the other. There's no house where nobody has ever died. So she came back and said, "I can't find this mustard seed anywhere." He said, "So you see this? When you said my son died, at this point, thousands of sons have died in thousands of houses. You don't see it because it's not near you." So that weight of her grief was lifted because she said, "I'm just part of this whole universe. Life and death are part of this struggle for existence." And then she bowed down to the Buddha and said, "I understand," and went back. There are people who may not have understood. I understand that also. But she did. So these are some of the thoughts that can go through our minds. So compassion is very important. Kindness is very important. When I have a loss, I must try to see that the other person who has the same or similar loss is not suffering. So do something about it. This is a selfless act, but it's actually a purifying of the mind in one way so that you become more than human. I look after some people say, "Oh, I don't want to do any Vedanta, yoga, nothing. I do my duty, I look after my child and I'm fine." I always tell them, the monkeys also do that, the dogs also do that, look after their own child. If I look after my neighbor's child, then I'm different. Then I'm growing, I'm becoming a human being, not just an animal. Because it is a built-in instinct to look after your child. Nothing very special about that. Of course, there are some who don't do that, which is worse. But you know what I mean. So all these thoughts, if they can be discussed with, music plays a great part. Music heals. So
any particular kind of music? Sorry to interrupt you. Any particular kind of music?
Yes, I would say not music that makes you jump around too much, but music that calms you down. I prefer classical music, Indian classical music, both Hindustani and Carnatic. But I also love Western classical music. Beethoven, Mozart, there are many. You see, music has no language. You don't need a language for music. Somebody, sometimes, can you imagine a milkmaid walking past Vrindavan? Someone is sitting on the hill playing the flute. The moon is out. There is no word. There is no conversation. Just that. And she puts all the milk and everything down and rushes up. Where is this beautiful music coming from? Well, I'm trying to describe in simple words the Bhagavad. So, music. Music can heal, especially calming music. The sound of music, not the movie, the sound of music from sa, ri, ga, ma, ba, da, ni, sa. This is not the way to say that. I'm just saying the different tones, they have effect on the different centers, psychic centers of our system called the chakras. So, singing, listening to music, all this play a part in bringing about healing. So all this can be encouraged in some way. Of course, the practice of yoga, 100%. Even if you're sad or you're unhappy and something has happened, don't miss your yoga in the morning or evening, whenever you do it.
Or you're
Even if
tired, something comes around, don't miss it.
don't miss it. Yeah, because it's an excuse.
Yeah, excuse.
It is an excuse. Don't miss it. Practice for at least 15 minutes. Do Surya Namaskara. Right?
And
So
now it's so simple. It's all come online. It's so simple to find
very simple.
teachers, to find everything on the internet even. So it's
Only difficulty is, as you said, I'm sorry, people are now confused because YouTube has
confused,
so
yeah. So much,
so
yeah.
one has to be a little bit careful. Yeah.
That also. Shyam, can I ask you, for your parting message, if you would like to say something to everyone watching this program now, hopefully at the end of the second wave, what would that message be? On this International Day of Yoga, a very special day, the summer solstice, from an energetic perspective, from many perspectives, not just that the United Nations has declared it. So, what would your message be today for everyone watching this program?
I would say that the International Yoga Day has just started some years back. The Prime Minister said, let's have an international. It's a great thing, of course. What I would say is, first, because the roots of yoga come from this country, have some respect for this country. Please. I mean, yoga is practiced in Hollywood. Okay, good. That's fine. But where did it come from? Here. So have some respect for this earth, which has given us this wonderful science. One. Second, make yoga a daily practice in your life, because yoga has nothing to do with organized religion. You can be either religious or you can be non-religious. You can still practice yoga. And what are the advantages? The message I want to give is it helps to keep a healthy body, a healthy mind, and for those who aspire, go deeper into the spiritual. For those who aspire. For the rest, at least healthy body and healthy mind, which is so much necessary, especially in this new phase that is coming after the pandemic. I have great hope. I know, we all know that sometime the Spanish flu in 1918 took 30 million lives. Everybody bounced back. Nobody remembers the Spanish flu. Same will happen to this COVID-19. Nobody will remember after. We will all bounce back. We're coming to that. But we have to be patient and careful. I agree. So the message is a new dawn. Think of it as a new dawn opening up. Get ready. Prepare yourself to get in there. And I'm 100% sure that life will be different now. People will be more kind. People will be more careful, more hygienic. So we are going to actually, from this depression, come into a high, into a new wave. So let's get prepared for that and ready for that and sink all the past that has happened to us in the mind. We need to move forward. Aage badhe. As they say, honge kamyab.
Thank
This
you.
is
Thank
my
you,
message.
Shyam. That's a
And
beautiful message.
may I add one more? That
Of
young
course.
people like you play a very important role in this. Because when I, with my gray hair, talk, that people are okay, but here there's a young person involved who is doing this. So do more, please. The young are the hope of the future. Hmm? So
We'll
thank you,
try.
one. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
one.
you. Thank you, Shri. I'm Ira Trivedi, and I am honored and blessed to have with us the one and only Dr. H.R. Nagendeaji. Dr. H.R. Naginda is a scientist who took the path of yoga. He is a vice chancellor of S. Vyasa University, which is the largest yoga university in the world. Over his career, he has trained thousands and thousands of yoga teachers, and he has been instrumental, really instrumental, behind the modern yoga movement in India. And he is our Prime Minister's yoga teacher also. So you can just imagine the kind of authority, the kind of knowledge he has. And what I personally love about Dr. Nagendra is the science aspect that he brings to yoga. It is not merely about a religious or a spiritual act, but it also then becomes a scientific act. So, welcome Dr. Nagendra on our program of Get Better Together India. Please do note that we have a ticker running at the bottom of the screen. We would love any donation from your side, whether it's 10 rupees, whether it's 20 rupees. Every single rupee counts towards this cause because COVID-19 cannot be fought alone. It has to be fought together. Because if another person has COVID, that means that you can have COVID. So we really encourage you to give. We are donating this money towards some wonderful initiatives. So welcome, Dr. Nagendra, to our program. It's an honor and a blessing to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Ira. It's such a great pleasure and delight to be with you all and share whatever is needed. As you rightly said, COVID is spreading fast, and we have also taken up some intensive research. And we are working with Nagendeaji here and collecting the data by standard and very good research protocols, and also with the Bangalore Medical College. And by the next few probably days or weeks, we should be able to come out with some exacting data how yoga could be very, very helpful, because this is to be funded for more things. Now, NH, we are collecting almost 150 people. We want that it should be more. And they have asked now, okay, can you do it for 100 people? And Hidayala is, as you know, probably headed by Dr. Devi in Bangalore, is one of the best cardiac centers in the country, in almost the world. And they have been very cooperative, and then they are doing wonderful work. And we are able to show that how yoga could be extremely useful. And this can boost the immune system and bring about the necessary changes, the readiness to deal with this. And it can be great preventive, and also could be also useful for treatment when the people get positive. And for example, we had a center here, a small center, only we had about 50 people in the first thing. And the second, now we have about 45 people. And all these people have become completely normalized within 12, 14 days and using the yoga techniques. They were all declared positive and they came here and they went completely negative without any complications. So such things are happening, and we want to show that in a more rigorous research protocol and the research things which have been already approved by the ethics committee of good COVID experts, and also Ministry of Ayush also in these things. So nice, Ira, to meet you. Good.
Thank you, Dr. Nagendra. I had now, a question about people are looking for simple solutions. When people come to us, they ask us, what can we do which is 10 minutes during a day? Because as you know, people are spending a lot of time on WhatsApp and Netflix these days. So there's, a seeming shortage of time. So one of the biggest questions that we get is that I don't have time to do even 1 hour of yoga a day. I'm too busy with my household chores. So as you have been the man behind our national yoga protocol, you were the one who created it, and millions of people around the world are doing it. Doctor, could you give us a few techniques? Could you just name to us the few pranayams that everyone, no matter how young or old, should integrate into their life, and tell us a little bit about why, on a scientific level, they are useful?
Mm. Actually, when the International Day of Yoga came, 2015, before that, this was the question that everybody wanted. We want very simple things. Everybody should be able to do that, very effective, and it should be holistic. As our Honorable Prime Minister said in the talk that he gave in UNO, he said it is a holistic dimension. It's not merely asanas. It is a total dimension for the total personality development. It's a way of life that we have to build. For that, they gave us the task that yes, you develop a suitable protocol which will be very helpful. Even the young and the old people should be able to do. You know. Therefore, we developed this protocol. It is continuously being improved. And last year, I'm so happy to know that the Ministry of Ayush set a target of about 20 crores of people to practice this protocol last year.
24.
And I asked our Joint Secretary and Secretary as to how many people did that. They said according to the self-report, they were able to achieve 13 crores of people in the country. So it's a huge thing. And similar thing is going to happen this year, thanks to this online programs. People can do that at home. So that protocol of 40 minutes is the best. And it has been given in all the different 16 languages of India and many foreign languages also. And our MDNIY, our Monaji National Institute of Yoga, headed by our Dr. Basureddy, he has now improvised further with suggestion from all of us. And it's going to be very simple. It consists in a very subtle way, the Gnana Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, all aspects. How to use our intellect to do that, how to use the willpower, how to use our emotions, how to bring it to our day-to-day practice, and to see how that energy can be channelized to give the preventive aspect and also promotive aspect of the health. This year, the emphasis is on health and to deal with COVID. So Ministry of Health said, yes, all over the world will start. Another interesting thing I heard is that people should practice from, let's say, 7 a.m. Say in Japan, 7 a.m. is here, about 3:30 a.m. From that, it goes on according to the time zone. It will go up to the west, California. That will be our 8:30. So whole day, that will be going on, the protocol going on. It's a wonderful tool for prevention because it develops the immune system so nicely because it works at all the levels. Not only at the intellectual, but does this thing. Simple asanas are there, some standing postures, some sitting postures, and these things are there. Ardhakati Chakrasana, and then Trikonasana, and other things. Sitting postures they have, Vajrasana, Shashankasana, Supta Vajrasana, whatever they can do, And that's how this has been tailor-made. And we have appealed to all the people saying that, okay, this is a compulsory or the mandate for everybody, but you want to add on a few things after this 40 minutes, you are welcome. For example, everybody have their own flagship program. They're most welcome to join. That can be 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Somebody wanted to have the webinars. Today I'm getting invitation from all over the world, So many programs, they are doing that in a very effective way and bringing even competitions to show. It is very wonderful things coming up throughout the world, And this is the thing that's happening. And therefore, simple say is relaxation, deep relaxation, shavasana. We do simple 1 or 2 sitting poses. Like for example, we have Ardhakadichakrasana, then the slowly front bending as much as you can, front bending Padastasana, go back, Ardha Chakrasana, and then side bending Trikonasana to the right and the left. These are the asanas. Then you lie down and do some simple 1 or 2 sitting postures. That you have Shashankasana, front bending Shashankasana, and back bending Ardha Ustrasana, these things. Front bending, back bending. It's a little bit of twist they can do. Ardha Matsyendrasana, one left side, one right side. Again, you go to Shavasana. And Shavasana is the most important. Those who can do a little bit of Sarvangasana and Matsyasana, they can do. Otherwise, just lie down and do Shavasana. And important thing is the breathing practice. And always Ramdevji has been emphasizing Kapalabhati. It's a wonderful which will cleanse our entire system, which is very useful today in the COVID context. And they must do. Start with 30 strokes per minute, and gradually they can increase it to 120 strokes per minute, depending on their situation. and that is the Kriya aspect for cleansing. Then we have the Pranayam, so Anlom Vilom or Narishwati Pranayam. That is the one that brings the balance between that. And slow deep breathing also is very helpful. Recent studies have shown that Brahmari is an excellent thing. It will increase 15 times more nitric oxide than the normal breathing. So this nitric oxide is going to clear up the passages from all such viruses and infectious diseases. Therefore, this is a wonderful thing that can happen. Therefore, this is about the pranayama. And sit in deep meditation, allowing the mind to calm down the mind, and depending on everything can do. And most people would prefer to have the Om meditation. They go on repeating the Om, the mind, or they can choose any of their Ishtadevatas, they believe, or role models they can have and do the meditation. And this is how all things have been built. And we'll take a resolve as we'll all work together, wish for the prevention of the ensuing COVID, maybe third wave or whatever. And let us all be very healthy, full of health, vitality, and positive health. A sankalpa, as it's called. This the willpower being exercised in a synergetic core from all people all over the world. And end up with a nice Shanti mantra that let us all work together in a synergetic whole. And this is the yoga protocol that has been developed and which can be used very easily by all the people.
That's amazing, Dr. Nagenda. I mean, Guruji, it's so beautifully explained by you. And what I gained from what you just said is that a 40-minute practice is required. 40 minutes you must do to have a holistic yoga practice. So if everyone can take out just 40 minutes, even 3 times a week, then I think that this much we should be all giving to our health in this day and age. And yoga can really be a wonderful preventative, but 40 minutes is required. And follow this very simple protocol that has asanas that are suitable for everyone. And if we do that, then we can use yoga as our shield, as our own COVID shield. We don't need to get a vaccination for this. But Guruji, can I ask you about the nitric oxide effect? There's a lot of curiosity around this. And at S. Vyasa, you being a scientist, you leading such an effort towards bringing that scientific aspect to yoga. That yoga is not just from the religious scripts and religious books, but yoga has a huge scientific and medical aspect. As you had mentioned, you're working with doctors such as Devi Shetty ji to bring this knowledge to the masses. That it's not just something which is, which is religious. Yoga has true and real health benefits, and therefore all of us must practice it. Just like we take our medicines, just like we're taking a vaccination, you must look at yoga as something as important to do that. So I would love to hear from you a little bit about what is nitric oxide, what are people talking about, and how can this help us with COVID? And as you mentioned, the Brahmari pranayam, or what we know as in English as the humming bee pranayam, can be a very good result. I'd love to hear from you on this.
Correct. Actually, the whole essence of yoga for therapeutic applications works on 2 levels. One is called the Adhija Vyadhi, those things which are initiated by the stress which brings about the causation of these things. And these are called the stress-related ailments or psychosomatic ailments. In modern terminology, is called as NCD, non-communicable diseases. Asthma, diabetes, hypertension, heart problem, epilepsy, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, cancer, and all these things come under this broad heading of Adhija Vyadhi. Then the other is the infectious and contagious diseases. They are called as the Anadhija Vyadhi. Anadhija, that which is not produced by stress. And what is the role of yoga in the Anadhija Vyadhi and what is the role of yoga in the Adhija Vyadhi are the things that have been investigated. And we have worked on this for the last 40 years and published a lot of research papers, 800 research papers were published. And what we have found is the root cause for these ailments that we see today, NCDs, is in the manomaya kosha, in the mind level. And the stress is not only at the physical level. Stress is a very complicated, multi-dimensional challenge that we are facing in the world. Mental restlessness, emotional upsurges, deep-rooted psychological conflicts, All these things could be at the base of stress. So in Panchakosha concept that we have, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnana, Anandamaya Kosha, at the Manomaya Kosha, when these emotions start coming up, they become very powerful. And anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, infatuation, arrogance, fear particularly, these are the ones that will bring big imbalances in the mind level, brings imbalances at the pranamaya kosha level, and brings about all the imbalances at the stress reaction at the body level, causing autonomic imbalance, endocrine imbalance, and the breathing imbalances and the heartbeat imbalance. All these imbalances come up, and it will settle down in different parts of the body, and you get into what we call as the disease or the vyadhi. So in the vyadhi, it can be asymptomatic or it can be symptoms. And we don't care if you don't have symptoms. But when you start getting some pain, some headache, some this thing, and others, then you go to the doctor and they will diagnose it by these things, whether it's diabetes or hypertension and so on. That's the NCDs. Similarly, when we have the infection coming up, now the corona coming up, many people do not know that they have got this thing. It's in the dormant form. And when you test it, they say that it is a symptomatic corona that's come. And they are also put, because they say infection is positive, they may spread to other people. So we have been telling, okay, you put the mask and you have the social distance, you lock in all these things which have been so nicely taken. That has prevented the spread in a very wide exponential way. That is one aspect. But we don't have very effective vaccines today to completely nullify the effect. Though many vaccines have come and newer vaccines are coming up, they were maybe 65%, 75% effective. These things are there. But we want vaccines which can be much more effective. It is going on. That's the research. It takes time. But once you get these things, for treatment-wise, there is no thing that directly hits the vaccine, the COVID dimensions, and gives the relief. Okay, you got fever, so you have anti-fever things, you take some antibiotics, and you have got some lung things, you have these things. Like that, we are giving different medicine. But there is no medicine which hit directly the corona thing and then removes this. That's happening. So what is the way out? This is the modern medical approach generally we have for infection. But the approach in yoga is to strengthen our immune system. Our immune system is a very strong army. It has got white blood cells in huge number. Billions of white blood cells are there. And they are very powerful. And compared to the viruses that we have, this coronavirus is the biggest now we have, 0.025 micron. And our WBCs are 100 times bigger than that, size-wise. Secondly, strength-wise also is very good. And then in the nose, when it enters, we got body security force called the NK cells. And this is the one that also will prevent. So we have very strong army that happens. And if our strong army, the immune system is kept in good position, healthy, strong, vital, full of normalcy, then we don't have to bother about any infection. Corona also cannot do anything. And we have a large number of people who are not affected by corona today because they have a very strong immune system. But fear, that emotional challenges and others can suppress the immune system, the stress. And therefore the immune system becomes weak. That weakness will say, okay, now I can't do anything. This virus has come, is very powerful and it will invade me. This is what happens. But if your immune system is strong, nothing happens. Similarly, distortions also can come up. So in the immune system, there are several things that happen, very deep-rooted mechanisms that take place in the immune system. It works at several levels in the immune system. So when the viruses and other things, they come and then gobble up and they will not allowed to spread. Various mechanisms are there. Similarly, when the virus comes, the nitric oxide also is one which normally removes them from this thing. Any infectious germs come and other things come, they wash them out. Just like you wash your inner things, this also washes them away. This is one of the things of the nitric oxide and other things. And this is how it happens. The NK cells, something like our body security force. When it comes here, then this NK cells are going to throw them out. So these are all the various mechanisms. There are a number of mechanisms in the immune system which does. Today it goes down even to the genetic level to bring about the necessary changes. So this is how immune system works. But yoga helps to keep the immune system very strong, healthy, full of energy, vitality. Because yoga is the one that can reduce the stress levels at all levels. Working at the mind level, that's the most important thing. Working at the emotional level is important. Can we work stress-free? Mind becoming calm and quiet and full of energy, vitality, and with a very positive attitude, full of good emotions, and all the negative emotions of fear and other things they come, you ward them off, and see that you have all our Daivi Sampat blossoming and wishing good for the other people, like what you're all doing, very wonderful thing, connecting these things and doing the dana full of these things. All such positive emotions are coming up. If you keep them, then your immune system will be very strong. Now, this is what we want. Fortunately, COVID has given an opportunity for people to stay home, develop our traditional thing. First time they have the opportunity to stay with their family, wife and children, and enjoy the life. Otherwise, most of these people have no time. They're all busy running. Hardly they meet their families. So this is a great opportunity that COVID has provided. Also, it helps for them to save time of going there and coming back and travel and all these things. So they have more time. And as a result, they can spend some time for yoga. Every day they must do the yoga. It may be a simple relaxation technique, sapasana, or some breathing practice, pranayama, or a meditation technique, or many people have the deeper dimensions to deal with their emotions, all these things. So what we did was, about 10 years back, we developed simple yoga practice to be done even 5 minutes, 10 minutes. For people below 16 years, we tailor-made one set of integrated yoga modules. For 16 to 60 years, we have made other things. And this is for the prevention. And people above 60 years, we have 3 different modules we did. These are very simple. To be done, you don't have to spend the time for 1 hour at a time. You do that 5 minutes, 8 minutes at a time. Do it frequently several times. This helps in building the immune system better. And this is for prevention. And lakhs of people have been able to use that to prevent. Then when they get positive, when they go to the hospital, then we have different modules we have developed, depending on their severity, mild, moderate, severe. Severe people are there who are lying on the bed, they cannot even move. For them also, we have developed simple technique. This is our specialty. While dealing with cancer for a long time, for 30 years, we had such severe patients of cancer, we could not even turn in the bed. Such people we have been able to do and normalize them by a special technique called pranic energization technique, mind sound resonance technique, and others. Similarly, we have developed here the techniques as to how we can overcome these things, and we have to use this subtle energy to strengthen them. Because one of the major things that is happening COVID is a lot of fatigue that comes. People are being very weak, and this is the worst thing that has happened when the infections go into the lungs. That feel very, very weak, and compared to other things, this is the worst that has happened. A lot of people whom I am meeting and others, they have said this is the major thing, and they take 15 days, 20 days, even 2 months to come back to normal energy level. So we have to use the subtle energy level, all that we have built, and people who are there. So for all the people who are here in our small community, in our Prashanti Kutiram campus, 100-acre campus, 50, 40 people are there. And for them, it has become wonderful. They have been doing very well. Many of them are symptomatic, some are mild, some are getting moderate. They all are doing very well. And we have introduced that in several places here. And Narayan Hudayalaya also we have started, and we'll get more exacting data as to what is happening in the system on probably the gene level and also at the level of immune levels. All that we'll measure and see how yoga is affecting them and how the coronavirus is hitting them and how it is getting improved. All that will come out with a rigorous research study that we are doing. That's how things are moving. And therefore, we have clear ways of doing that. And the government of India, that Ministry of Ayush, has approved the protocols that have been developed. So similarly,
Amazing.
Ayurveda also could be very helpful for Kashaya and other things. And they can add on this thing that also we use here.
Amazing, Dr. Naginda. Amazing, Guruji. Such a wonderful explanation you gave. Thank you for that in-depth explanation. I
Okay.
don't think I've ever heard such a good explanation from anyone. Thank you so much. I think what you rightfully said was that it's like the border security force, the nitric oxide, right? In our nose, and our entire immune system is like that. But we just have to bring about this balance in our body and our prana and our on the different levels of all the different koshas. And this holistic approach is what's going to ultimately help us. It's not
Exactly.
one thing or the other. It's a holistic approach which is going to help us bring this balance into our body and our mind because it's all related. It's not just one that you can help. But and I'm very happy that you brought up the part about the vaccine, that while vaccination is good, but these practices are also important. This is going to act as an additional because these are 65, 70% effective. And as Dr. Nagenda has scientifically explained to us how yoga can really help and that research is ongoing and it's such a beautiful process. Once again, I urge you to donate. We'd love for you to make these donations towards this wonderful cause of bringing yoga into our life in a very scientific manner. And S. Vyasa University is doing some wonderful efforts towards this. As I mentioned, even 10, 15 rupees, it's just that little bit that you're contributing towards a beautiful national effort. All of this material which is being developed by S. Vyasa goes into the public domain and it helps crores and crores of people, not just in India, but in around the world. So please do, in your hearts, give a little, and you'll get back, I think, 100 times more. That's the law of the universe. I've seen that in my own life, where we hesitate to give.
Have published about this thing, papers that we have published in this thing, our big survey and others, and also a webinar in which all the top experts were there who looked at the entire thing in a very scientific way, and everybody recommended that this should be done. And that was given to our Ministry of Ayush and also Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And it has to come. It has to come into the private life, into the hospital thing, into the nursing home. Everybody should start practicing. For our health, we have to spend some time every day, 1 hour, maybe intermittently several times or together. If we do that, we can keep our health. And this COVID is going to stay. It is not going to vanish like this. It will stay. Therefore, it is more necessary we should do that thing. And therefore, it is needed. And more rigorous scientific research needs some more support. Therefore, I have been telling that we should do that. And the important thing is, as you are very good in your publicity and other things, you should spread to everybody. Crores of people should go. This is what I want. Therefore, people should adopt these things by themselves because the government is doing their best by the vaccinations and other things. Let them do. And they have told that you have to do. But hospitals and nursing homes, they are not very ready to use these things as an adjunct. Oh, what happens if they don't do that? Who is going to be responsible? They ask. So we said that researching is there. Supposing you give some medicine, if something wrong happens, who will be responsible? Because there is no medicine for this thing. And many people have died. Even oxygen, they were not able to supply in good quantities for, and a lot of mortality has taken place. What we can do? But when this is there, such a wonderful, our traditional thing, why adopt it as a part of the entire treatment modality? This is what I'm requesting. All the hospital people have been requesting and then sending. So you spread this social media.
Definitely, doctor.
That
This
would
is
be
our
helpful.
this is our goal. So everyone, please do keep this in mind that adopt yoga into your daily life. It is a free practice. It doesn't
Yes,
cost anything. In
absolutely.
fact, you only gain from it. And it's so simple. All of this material is available on a public domain. But thank you so much.